Now that we're done with the Wild West, let's get on to the other Wild West, the AFC West. I told you guys that was a bad idea.
It sounded even worse.
I told you.
That was like worse than I was even imagining.
I knew it was gonna happen. You guys forced me
We
to do it. Okay, yeah.
No,
The
because
AFC
it
West.
wasn't just we said just say now on to the other Wild West, and you put your own little
I didn't
spin
know
on
what
it
to
at the
do.
beginning, and it just killed it,
I
bro.
forgot. I panicked, okay? The camera wasn't on.
Oh my
I had to count.
Oh, I'm sorry. What a
We
hell of a
totally
start.
planned for that to happen. Like Sean said, we were here to the other wild, wild west. And
No, I said the Wild West. Come on now.
All right.
we're gonna
You
start
know
with
what's
the least.
wild? That this one of the starting quarterbacks in this league. Well, no, because I'm sorry. I was about to shame Gardner Minshew, and then like it just really backtracked in my head. Like I don't want to do that to the Mississippi Mudflap because he's really a respectable guy. He's Trevor Lawrence, and
What
Gardner
has happened
Minshew
here?
is worth however much money Trevor Lawrence got paid.
Well,
But if
you have
Aiden
said that the
O'Connell
Raiders are
is a
the
starting
least
quarterback
exciting team.
again, I think we should all quit our jobs.
Well, you have said that the Raiders are the least exciting team coming out of this AFC West. I think there's a worse or least most exciting team uh, that deserves that honor. But you two voted, and it is the Raiders being the least exciting team from the AFC West.
Hell yeah,
Please
brother.
tell us why they're not. Please tell me why the Mississippi Mudflap is not more exciting than anything coming out of LA or Denver.
Well, listen here. Devonte Adams doesn't want to be there.
But he's
Doesn't.
there.
Doesn't want to be there.
But he's there.
He is
He
there.
is there.
um they got a little worse at running back. I don't think they really tried to upgrade the offensive line. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's fine. Um D line added a fairly big piece, but Antonio Gibson can only do so much with what he's got. Antonio Pierce. Damn it, not Antonio Gibson. I
It's a
drafted
fine.
Antonio Gibson.
I was like,
That is a fine. How
I
long
was
has it
like,
been since we find somebody on this show?
well, I did give you a fine earlier, but I don't think you recorded it.
Oh, earlier when?
How many
This
of
show?
those
This
has
show.
Tybo had?
Earlier this show.
Okay, what? Remind me. I didn't hear.
Was it another mispronunciation? We're
I
messing up
just
the
We're gonna have
line.
to go back and check the tapes on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I
I
just
mean, I
reactively
called it
said
out.
the wrong last name. Damn it! I was even picturing his bald head in my brain. Antonio Pierce can only do so much with what that roster has to give. Honestly,
But it's a hell of a
middle
lot
middle
better
of the
than what
road
Josh
team. Like
McDaniels had.
they're bland. They're as bland as it gets in the NFL. Like they're gonna be right 7, 8, 9 win team, and if they make the playoffs, they're not gonna win a game.
I, I think it's going to be a stretch for them to get to the playoffs. I think you're 100% right. Devontae Adams doesn't want to be there. I think he'll still try to show out because he wants to be traded. He wants to show value for another team to come and get him. But Jacoby Myers, one of the unsung players of last season that came out and really balled out, especially when Antonio Pierce took over as the head coach. You've still got Michael Mayer, and then they also brought in Brock Bowers, so probably going to be a lot of two tight end sets. But I think the worst part, and again, quarterback is not a strong suit for them between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. But I think the worst part of this offense, even outside of the offensive line, is at running back. Your number one is Zamir White. Your number two is Alexander Madison. Your number three is Amir Abdullah. Like you're not running the ball anywhere. Your average attempt is probably going to be 1.2 yards, would be my guess. Like offense is probably going nowhere, at least on the ground, and in the air. we'll see what happens. But I think this Raiders team is a solid case of you didn't have a head coach that you liked last year, and you brought in a guy who everybody rallied around because they easily could. And I think all three of us agree that Antonio Pierce could be a good head coach in this league, but I don't think he could be a good head coach for this team because this organization sucks. And I think it's going to be very close to what we saw with the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2010, 2011, whenever that happened with the Chiefs firing Todd Haley, bringing in Romeo Crennel as the interim head coach. The team gathered around him and then went 2-14 the very next season.
I
That
mean,
very well could happen. I feel like the quarterback situation there is a little bit better than it has been the past two starting quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew is a much more capable quarterback than Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy G. Let's be honest here, guys.
I totally forgot Jimmy G was there. I was
Yeah,
thinking better than Derek Carr, but I totally forgot Jimmy G was there.
I
do
think
you
he'll be
think
able to get the ball out
do you
there
think
a
Trevor
lot.
Lawrence is better than Derek Carr?
No, I don't.
In silence. You don't.
50-50.
No.
It's a toss up.
I think a lot of
The toss up.
NFL fans and analysts would probably say yes, Trevor Lawrence is better than Derek Carr. And
I'd
Gardner Minshew
probably take
is
Trevor,
Trevor
but
Lawrence, so I won't stop saying it. I actually think if the Raiders organization were to be able to turn shit around, they gotta rally not around any one of their players. They gotta rally around Antonio Pierce. They need to listen to his advice and his guys' advice. I think that would start to point them in the right direction. I think he is a hell of a coach, just from the little bits and pieces I've picked up. So I like him better than Dan Campbell.
Wow, that's a hot take coming from you. Interesting.
Devontae
I think
Adams
it's
and Max Crosby should be asking for trades well before the deadline.
they should be, but
I wouldn't be surprised.
like Tybo was referring to, they're going to rally around Antonio Pierce. He's going to get him going for the first few weeks at least.
I meant the organization needs to rally around Antonio Pierce to turn the organization around. I still don't think they're going to have a very good football season, but like I think going forward, I think Antonio Pierce is a decent guy to have as a head coach that would be able to develop young talent and really get the most out of the guys that he has. I understand that I'm also saying that I don't think he's going to be able to get a whole lot out of this roster. So,
Well, let's get down to it. What's the over
boom,
under?
bam, probably going under.
Vegas has the Las Vegas Raiders at 6.5.
Uh,
That's a
I'm
difficult
checking.
choice.
I mean, it's enough to get me to look at the schedule again. So
They don't
They
necessarily have
won
an
eight
easy
last
schedule.
year. They got some very winnable games, though.
it's very similar to ours because I mean, AFC West is going to have the same.
I'm going to go ahead and pick the
five.
over. They were able to win 8 games somehow last year with Jimmy G and Aiden O'Connell, so they can win 8 with Gardner or 7 with Gardner.
I'm also going to give them the over, but I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be really close. They're going to have to. They're going to have to win some tough games to get to that spot. Like I think they're going to be scratching and clawing for a 7 to 8 win season.
I'll take the under. I got him at 6 games.
But like I said, they're not going to be pushing for the playoffs. If they're in the hunt when it comes down to the end of the season, the AFC is going to have a bad year. AFC is going to have a lot of people hurt, so the Raiders can be good this year.